Well, hello everyone. Thanks for stopping in. We're here for part 3 of our stud and nut testing here at Fanta Machine. If you've watched our previous videos, and I hope you have, we started off checking the effects of lubrication on clamping force. We went through all that. We tested different lubrications. We checked repeatability. We set a baseline. Then we started checking clamping force. How much force do you actually get when you torque down a stud or a bolt or a nut or whatever? In this video, we're in part 3 here. We're checking the strength of nuts. Now we've got 4 different kinds listed here. This is not to tell you what to buy. It's to tell you what to stay away from. I learned some of this the hard way. We're going to be testing hardware store nuts. We've got a grade 8 nut. We've got a wheel nut because it happened to be 9/16 thread. And we got some ARP. And yes, we're using 9/16. That's our standard. That's what we sell. That's what we want to be testing. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to be applying torque. Now normally a high tensile stud like used in an engine would be torqued to 180 foot-pounds of torque. Well, if you watched the previous videos, 180 foot-pounds of torque is going to give between 950 and 1,000 PSI on our gauge, depending on the day. Well, what we're going to do here is just torque down this hardware store nut and see if it gives, or if we got to do something else to strip it. And as you can see, yep, it topped out at about 700 PSI on the gauge, and you can see it's dropping as I keep torquing, which means it's stripping. There, it let go. Yep, it's stripped. The threads have pulled out of the nut. Common hardware store nut, I guess you can't expect a whole lot more. We're also using our regular combination of hardened stud we make here at Fanta Machine, a cast iron washer, and a hardened washer. This is all lubricated with ARP lube. Okay, this is a grade 8 nut. When I first started making studs here, I thought, why should I buy the expensive nuts? Why don't I just buy some grade 8s? They're good enough, aren't they? Yeah, fooled me. As soon as you got them up near torque, they started to strip. There. That one did get up to torque. Now, according to what ARP has got, the torque, this is 180 foot-pounds of torque. I got up to 950 on the gauge. Now, the recommended torque will pull it up to 3/4 of the yield strength of the stud. So we take 950 divided by 0.75. That'd be 3/4. So it should break something at 1,270 pounds. Now, I'm going to move a block of wood into the way here, just to catch any parts and pieces, and we're going to pump this up until something gives. It broke. Not even 1,200 pounds of pressure. And it does not want to come loose. There. It's ruined the threads. Threads in the stud look fine. Now, just for something different, we're going to use a wheel nut. Why a wheel nut? Because we got one on hand. And it's the right thread. Okay, and 180 foot-pounds of torque is right around 1,000 psi on the gauge. Now, if you watched our previous videos, you would know that there's 1,300. I can feel it giving a little bit. It's hit yield. But in our previous videos, you could see the amount of pressure we had on everything. We never took it up to this level because we weren't trying to break things. We were just trying to see what they would do. Now we're getting up to the tensile strength peak. Now it's coming back down, and it broke. And that seems to be fine. And our stud broke. Now, would I recommend using wheel nuts? Not really. They may be cheap and easy, and if you're desperate, yeah, but I wouldn't do it myself. One other thing we're going to try here, get our cast iron washer and hardened washer in there again. We're going to take the two plain hardware nuts. I'm going to take the two plain hardware nuts, lock them together somewhat, and then see what it takes to break it. Okay, we're getting up, about the pressure range where it should be affecting the stud. Now these studs, if you've watched our previous ones, are 185, 190,000 pounds tensile strength, PSI. That's approximately the equivalent of ARP's mid-grade. And as we calculated earlier, it should be a little over 1,200, close to 1,300 psi on the gauge to hit the yield strength on the stud, and we're right close to that now. Okay, I can feel it give on that one. That was the yield point. Now it'll go on up a little bit higher to the tensile strength point, but it's also stretching right now. And then it should drop down as we keep pumping it. You can see the gauge dropping, and then it'll break. Like that. Now, why they do a double nut like that? Tell you the truth, I don't know. There's no place for a double nut in an engine or any other high performance application, because you can't get the proper torque on the first nut if you got a weak nut. And you can't torque two nuts at the same time. The only place I could see that would be a safety. And even then, you're probably better off with Loctite. So, what did we learn? I guess we didn't check the ARP. We should do that. We'll have to pull our cylinder back in a little ways. This one does not have a spring return like some. It's a shop built for this purpose. Okay. Let's keep going here. Okay, now bring our blocks in. Yep, it started to give about there. Now it's dropping, and there it broke. And the nut threads off just fine. Now we're going to show something just to show a point. We're just going to tighten it down hand tight. How much pressure do you think it's going to take to break it now? We aren't torquing it up, so we aren't preloading it to almost 1,000 psi. How far will it go? Will it go higher, lower, or will it break at about the same rate as the others? There, it yielded. Close. Just the differences in different studs. So it doesn't matter if you've got it torqued, tight, or if you got it loose. In this gauge, it'll give the same reading. Broke at the same spot. And the ARP nut spins right off. Okay, I think we've kind of got it figured out here. I think we're going to kind of stay with the ARP stuff. For nuts and washers, they seem to be good quality. Now, if somebody has some other suggestions, leave them in the comments. I don't mind testing other stuff against the stuff we make here at Fanta's Machine, or against ARP or anybody else. If somebody's got an idea, leave it in the comments or get a hold of me. And until then, we'll see you later.